Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
Michigan's governor pulling back some of the restrictions on businesses while putting some new safety rules in place. Today, Michigan recorded another 108 deaths from COVID-19.
Now, case counts are hitting a plateau, prompting the governor to make some changes in a new executive order. The stay-at-home order will now run through May 15th. Stores will be allowed to sell non-essential supplies, but that will be via curbside pickup or delivery.
Face coverings will now be required in enclosed public places such as grocery stores. A business can deny you service if you're not following that rule. Travel between residences is permitted, but still strongly discouraged.
Here's one that affects a lot of people, and that's lawn and landscaping services. They can operate again as long as they follow social distancing guidelines.
Golf is also getting the green light, but the use of golf carts is not permitted.
And motorized boating once again allowed. We've got the full list of the changes included in this new executive order at clickondetroit.com.
Meanwhile, the state legislature convened this morning for the first time since April 9th, seeking to form a committee to oversee Governor Whitmer's actions during this pandemic. Rod Maloney is live tonight in Lansing. And Rod, the political battle is still raging despite the easing of some of these restrictions.
That's right. The governor gave the legislature some of what they've been asking for. But if you think that that was enough to calm things here, you'd be thinking incorrectly, because the governor blasted the legislature for even being here today. And the legislature, especially the leadership, is saying the governor overreached and also was abridging a lot of civil liberties. And even 36 senators took their seats this morning, all wearing masks, and Republicans came first and foremost to approve a select bipartisan oversight committee to evaluate the governor's virus performance. At the same time, the more sparsely populated House convened to do the same. House Speaker Lee Chatfield told Local 4 News the governor's been less than cooperative throughout.
We haven't seen the collaboration up to this point that we've requested and that what we would like to see. I mean, we are the voice of the people, and there's thousands of people across our state who are frustrated and they've had their livelihoods taken away, and we want to ensure that they can get back to work when it can be done safely.
Then the Senate voted on and approved a couple of measures to try and limit this and future governors' powers in a similar crisis. The governor blasted the legislature first for even showing up.
I find it odd that the legislature has chosen to congregate against all the best practices, against the spirit of the stay home, stay safe order, where the vast majority of their constituents are observing these important actions.
And then decried poorly timed politics, promising a veto.
I'm not going to sign any bill that takes authority away from me or from any future governor. The powers of the executive office are incredibly important, especially in times of crisis where lives are on the line.
Speaker Chatfield says the governor has flexed her own political muscle quite a bit.
Today was an important first step, but Michigan is still an outlier with how we're dealing with COVID-19.
And so where does that take us? Well, how about April 30th, next Thursday? That's a negotiated settlement over the state of emergency and whether that can get extended. The legislature is looking for the governor to pull back still more. The question is, will we see that between now and then? Stay tuned. Reporting live in Lansing, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
We'll be watching. Okay, Rod, thank you.
Now, one of the most notable changes the governor made, requiring a face covering in any enclosed public space and requiring businesses to provide non-medical masks for employees. Dr. Frank McGeorge here now with some guidelines on how to clean those masks and how long they actually last. Frank?
As long as you aren't coughing or sneezing and your mask remains clean, reuse all day and even on subsequent days is practical, especially as supply issues remain a problem. But masks do need to be maintained and cleaned. It is important to clean fabric masks regularly. How often depends on how frequently you wear it. If you're wearing the mask all day, ideally you would want to clean it nightly. Now, homemade masks should be made from a fabric that can be washed in the washing machine and dried in the dryer without damage. You don't need fancy disinfectants. Regular laundry detergent is fine. Alternatively, you can also wash a homemade mask by hand with soap and water. Now, it's not safe to microwave your mask. Microwaves can damage certain types of masks and cause others to catch fire. When you remove your mask, to keep it clean, you can store it in a brown paper lunch bag. You don't want to store it in a plastic bag because that won't allow any dampness to properly dry out. Now, employers who are providing masks should ideally provide at least 2 fabric masks to allow for cleaning time. Now, if you are providing paper masks, like the kind a chemotherapy patient might wear, these are not as durable and they're going to need to be replaced more frequently. Depending on your supply, once a day at least would be ideal. Now, workers would also need a new mask if it became soiled during the day, for example, by a big sneeze. One final note, if you are coughing or sneezing a lot, don't rely on a mask to protect people around you. Just stay home. Masks are helpful, but once they're soaked with a wet cough or sneeze, well, they become much less effective. Back to you.
All right, Frank. Now, law enforcement officers right now driving in a procession to a hospital are showing their thanks and appreciation for healthcare workers.
Detroit police and other local and federal law enforcement officers are driving to Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit to say thank you to doctors, nurses, all frontline personnel working tirelessly during this pandemic. These are live pictures from Sky 4 of that procession, which started near the hospital at DPD's 3rd Precinct.
New help today for small businesses coming from both the local and federal levels. President Trump signing a bill that includes more than $320 billion for the Paycheck Protection Program, which, of course, you may recall, quickly ran out of money last month. It also includes more money for small business loans.
Meanwhile, Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan announced a new partnership aimed at helping small businesses. Larry Spruill is live with that part of the story. Larry.
Well, Kimberly and Devin, a lot of businesses here in Detroit need extra funding, especially during the coronavirus crisis. And today, Mayor Duggan announced a partnership that will help them in that way. Detroit's Mayor Mike Duggan says there's good news for small businesses struggling during the crisis.
To have Goldman step in here with $15 million of loans, basically saying if your business is located in Detroit, we've got a way to move you to the front of the line.
Money that is now available thanks to a partnership with Goldman Sachs, and Jamisha Lucas with Bronze and Glow says that's music to her ears. She's one of the co-owners of Bronze and Glow, a retail and beauty experience nestled on the Avenue of Fashion on Detroit's west side on Livernois.
We sell hair products for all hair types and textures, so we're a place where anyone can come, men, women, children.
Lucas tells me they were getting ready for the grand opening this spring until Governor Gretchen Whitmer issued a stay-at-home order because of the coronavirus. This not only stopped the grand opening, but also incoming revenue for the business.
But when you don't have anything coming in, it makes it very difficult to continue.
But with the recent news of extra funding for small businesses like hers, that gives her hope.
We're really grateful to see the government is thinking of small businesses, and not just government agencies, but other agencies that are coming up with different grants and loan programs during this time.
And so there's also help on the federal level. We're talking about $320 billion that is a part of the Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP. Now, out of that funding, about $60 billion will go towards businesses who do not have a relationship with the bank. Also, there's funding for hospitals, disaster relief, and coronavirus testing. We are live in Eastern Market tonight. Larry Spruill, Local 4.
Okay, Larry, there's a lot of innovation going on right now and problem solving within each individual community to deal with coronavirus.
In Dearborn, the mayor, police chief, and fire chief teamed up to create a safe haven for first responders. Sean Lace shows us it's a place where they can get a test, but also some rest.
Behind me, the first of its kind here in the state, a rapid testing site and a place to stay for any first responder. Dearborn Battalion Chief Glenn Owens is a numbers guy, and months ago, he was studying CDC numbers on coronavirus cases.
We saw it coming. You know, it was one of those things that you better get ready.
Owens is also Dearborn's infectious disease control officer. He knew an infection was coming that they needed to control.
As I started seeing trends and stuff, and as soon as we started seeing numbers here in the United States, went to our fire chief and said, you know, we need to get on top of this.
The result, a lot of teamwork to come up with this, the state's first drive-through rapid testing site. Outside of Dearborn's Community and Performing Arts Center, any first responder from any department can get a test and results in 15 minutes. Inside, room for up to 200 first responders if they are positive and don't want to go home and risk spreading the virus to their families.
We're trying to reach out. If we have the tests, we're trying to get everybody that we can. And the primary was let's keep our workforce safe. So we started testing our members. And when I looked at it and I said, okay, we have additional tests, we started reaching out to the other departments.
Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist toured the setup a few days ago.
The city of Dearborn has stepped up to provide not just for their city, but for the entirety of Western Wayne County. Infrastructure for first responders to safely and confidently isolate and have what they need to recover and not put their family at risk.
We've been working on this day in and day out, and to see it actually up and running is a very, very good thing. We're very happy with it.
And right off the bat, Dearborn tested 45 first responders, one testing positive, and they say they work to continue to get their hands on as many tests as they possibly can to test as many first responders as they possibly can. Here in Dearborn, Sean Lay, Local 4.
All right, Sean, President Trump and his coronavirus task force just concluded their daily briefing. The FDA just announced the approval of the first at-home test kit for the coronavirus. Here's what the FDA Commissioner, Dr. Stephen Hahn, said just moments ago.
We've been laser focused on working with both industry and academia to actually make this happen. To date, under our emergency use authorization approach, we've quickly reviewed and authorized 63 tests, both diagnostic as well as serologic, that is the antibody test. We've had several point-of-care tests, and that's important because those can be done in the emergency room or in a doctor's office, etc., and much more convenient for the patient.
Much more from the task force coming up at 6:30 on NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Well, we've confirmed the sun hasn't completely social distanced itself from us. It was nice to see it come back out for a little bit today. Hi, Ben.
Yeah, Kim, it was just wearing a mask a couple days ago, but you know, we fixed all that. It looks great out there now, and it's actually helping us with temperatures too. We'll check that out and see if it carries over into the weekend. Next.
I know many of you are eager to get out of your homes, maybe get out of the state, take a trip, but what will the travel industry look like this summer? We're getting insider information coming up in my Help Me Hank report.
All right, Hank, Local 4 and ClickOnDetroit.com have launched a new initiative called Food for Frontline.
It's a community-wide effort to help both frontline workers and local restaurants. If you'd like to donate meals to Metro Detroit area hospitals, just go to forthefrontline.clickondetroit.com.